Course lading, Captain. Ready for your command. Excellent, Commander. Let's fly.
No, don't say it.
Dear Cthulhu, McCluck, what's gone into you?
That "let's fly" phrase, it's wrong. It's just wrong. I'm sure you wouldn't understand.
Try me. Commander, Captain, you have the con. McCluck, let's sort this out.
Hit it.
Okay, McCluck, just what the hell is your issue with "let's fly"?
All right, Captain. First, what the captain says to give the order to engage warp speed in Star Trek was never a thing until the 3rd season of Discovery.
What are you talking about? Archer said, "let's go." Janeway had "do it." Lorca just went with "go." Picard had "engage." Pike's "hit it." Ooh, I like that last one.
Yeah, but it wasn't a unique catchphrase, they said. Heck, the original Pike from the very first Star Trek pilot, Kirk himself, Sisko, and Janeway all said "engage" at various times.
Engage actually makes the most sense when you think about it. The captain orders the engine to engage, initiating the warp process.
Thanks, Gigi. It's a generic command and not something unique or specific to a captain. Now, this concept of a trademark order reared its disturbing head once Saru was captain of the Discovery in the show's 3rd season. There was this ongoing comedic setup spanning multiple episodes where he tried various terms that he hoped would work.
Oh yeah, he tried execute, and I think he settled on carry on, which was pretty bland if you ask me.
So Saru's predicament led to a funny bunch of scenes, I'll grant you that. It worked as a novice captain finding his feet and trying to get comfortable in the role. But the writers of modern Trek didn't leave it alone. Shortly after Saru's dilemma, we had Lower Decks Captain Freeman trying out "Warp Me" or "It's Warp Time." But to be fair, Lower Decks is a comedy show bordering on satire.
How can a franchise actually satirize itself? Shouldn't that be the job of a different group of people?
That's a question for another time, Gigi.
Well, regardless, it does make sense that show would make fun of the captain's trademark sayings.
Except there was no trademark saying until Saru brought it up. It wasn't a thing until modern Trek made it a thing and retroactively peppered it throughout the chronology. The next one was when 7 of 9 had to come up with a saying once she became captain.
To be fair, we didn't hear what it was she said.
Granted, but the scene was shot as this important moment where both Jack and Raffi urge her to think of something memorable and unique. After that, it totally went off the rails in Strange New Worlds' 2nd season when Ortegas asked Spock for his catchphrase when he took temporary command of the ship.
Oh yeah, he said, "I would like the ship to go. Now." It was funny.
Funny, maybe, but completely out of place, especially since they were in the middle of steering the Enterprise for a rescue mission, and time was of the essence. It felt really off. As far as I'm concerned, this captain's catchphrase was ridiculous for the outset, and is turning into a parody now.
And "let's fly"?
I'm getting to that, because not only is it Burnham's catchphrase,
she came up with it at the end of Discovery's 3rd season, right after Saru's bumbling attempts.
She did, and I bet we'll be hearing a lot of it in Discovery's 5th and final season. And on top of that, promotional material for the franchise has adopted it as well. And I hate it.
Okay, but why? It's just a little something. You know, it instills a feeling of adventure.
Oh, come on, isn't it obvious? Alright, let me make it clear for the both of you. What are spacecrafts called in Star Trek?
Spacecrafts?
Are they called starships or starplanes?
Starships, obviously.
Exactly. Everything is derived from naval tradition, from the various ranks the crew have, to terms like sickbay and bridge, to the "you have the con" command. Heck, even the boatswain whistle makes an occasional appearance.
Most recently, in Strange New Worlds' 2nd season.
The Enterprises, the Reliant, the Excelsior, Voyager, Discovery, the Defiant, and all the others are ships, not planes. You have big, lumbering ships that aren't very maneuverable, and smaller ones that are, like the Delta Flyer, for instance. But they're all, well, space boats. And boats don't fly.
Come on, McCluck.
Those large spaceships like the original Enterprise and the D are pretty maneuverable when Ortegas and Data are at the helm.
You hit the nail on the head, Gigi. That only happens in modern Trek. And I think I know why. I'm all ears.
And I...
Who was responsible for the modern revival of Trek?
J.J. Abrams.
Exactly. And what's he infamous for saying around the time he was working on those movies?
That he didn't like Star Trek?
Yep. Alicia?
Yes, McCluck.
Roll the tape.
When I was a kid, I never liked Star Trek when I was a kid. Growing up, I always thought it was, honestly, I couldn't get into it. My friends loved it, and I would try, and I'd watch episodes, but it always felt too philosophical for me. And this movie that we did, the goal was to make a movie for moviegoers, not just for Star Trek fans. That you and your kind were much smarter than I was. I couldn't get it.
That's not entirely fair, McCluck. You're omitting another part of that same interview. Alicia?
Yes, Captain.
Play the clip.
Star Trek's my favorite show of all time, but for some reason Star Trek never clicked for me until I started working on it, and I fell in love with it.
That was later on in the interview, and I think he was backpedaling at that point. I mean, you can't say you never liked a franchise when you're promoting a movie from the very same franchise, can you? Plus, if you watch his Star Trek movies, it's pretty clear he didn't understand the very essence of what made Star Trek Star Trek.
You can't deny he gave the franchise a bigger audience. Have you seen how much money those movies made compared to the, shall we say, more traditional Star Trek movies?
Okay, is the point here to make money or to make a good Star Trek movie?
Well, the execs would say, make money, lots of money.
Alright, let's not get into a discussion about art and financial reward today. But just look at the Wrath of Khan, the Voyage Home, the Undiscovered Country, heck, even First Contact. All those movies managed to combine Star Trek lore while also making the cinematic experience exciting for general moviegoers.
It's true that J.J. verse doesn't really hold a candle to those movies story-wise.
In fact, I'll go further. Not only does J.J. not understand Star Trek, but a part of me feels he used Star Trek to prove he could handle a big-budget sci-fi reboot, which Star Wars was in need of just a handful of years later. A franchise that he claims to love.
After seeing The Rise of Skywalker, I have my doubts about this.
Now's not the time, Gigi. So tell me, how are spacecraft treated in Star Wars?
What do you mean?
Like pieces of junk.
Planes. They're treated as planes. Think of the Falcon's maneuverability, or the trench run into the Death Star. Did you know that sequence was lifted from the 1955 movie Dam Busters? And what busted dams? Bombers.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm kind of generalizing here, of course, because there will be exceptions.
Like the giant Star Destroyers?
Exactly. But on the whole, Star Trek has ships and Star Wars has planes. But you know what confirmed that shift in Star Trek for me?
Tell me.
What does Han Solo say to Chewie when they're about to enter hyperspace?
Punch it, Chewie.
Correct. And you know who's the only captain to say punch it in the whole of the Star Trek franchise?
Is there one?
Oh, yes, there is. Captain Pike.
Hang on, you just said Pike says hit it.
Or engage.
Not those Pikes. I'm referring to Pike from the 2009 movie. JJ's movie. And that's when the shift happened. Prior to 2009, Star Trek had ships. But since then, because JJ didn't understand Star Trek and wanted to make it more wowie, these huge ships have increasingly behaved like highly maneuverable planes.
Hang on, JJ's not in charge of the TV shows.
No, but Kurtzman is. And who co-wrote the 2009 Star Trek and the 2013 Into Darkness movies?
Kurtzman?
Kurtzman. Since then, we've had Ortegas flying the Enterprise, doing impressive acrobatics with it. And the worst example was Data flying the giant Enterprise D like it was a fighter jet in Picard 3. And within that environment, Let's Fly was born. And that's why it never feels right when I hear it. It shouldn't be something that's said in the Star Trek universe, because starships don't fly. Right? I think I've made my point. Feel free to express yourselves in the comments, and I'll give you the response you deserve.